Okay, let's do this. Hello, and welcome back to Save Ourselves. Or if you're new here, then hi. I am Aparna. And even if you're old here, you might need a refresh on my introduction because I am coming back after quite a few months. I had made a video about coming back a few months back, but then there was another pause after that, and I'm so sorry for that. But now I'd like to think that I'm back for good. And with February, it's a fresh start, and let's get right into the video. So that's actually what the video is about. If you read the title, it says February is my January. And I made a video like that a couple of years back, which said that February can be your January. And it was about a few tips on how you can get a fresh start on the year, and it's not too late to start your new year in February. And if you had a bad January, or if you didn't quite get the start that you feel you needed, then February is the perfect month to start out. So that has been my personal experience for the past few years, where January is a bit of a flux, and I use that month to just sort of test run the year, and then it's in February that I actually sit down and think of what I want to do in that year, and things suddenly change. So that's what we're going to talk about. So sit down with a beverage or a snack and have fun, and I hope you enjoy this video. So let's talk about why January isn't the best month to start off the new year with full force, and why February is actually better. So in my own experience, or from the experience that I've heard from other people, maybe like other creators, people whose podcasts I listen to, or even some friends, a lot of them have this common theme, especially this year, that January was either very long, it seemed interminable, or it went by so fast that they didn't even have time to stop and think about it. So, in most cases, I feel like a lot of us go through January in these two states. It's either so busy because everyone's back from their holidays and it's a new year, so everyone just wants to get going. They're super busy at work. They want to form these new habits. They have these new resolutions they want to stick to. So their schedules are a bit tighter with less time to actually sit down and think about what you want. So for me, I think I consider January in the same way. Like December, for me, January is also a month of transition. While we are using December to close off the year and just reflect on what went by and how the year had gone by, I think that December is also filled with a lot of friends, family, social activities. Whether you celebrate the holidays or not, I think December is just like a very socially busy and draining month here for everyone in general. And then when you want to like jump right back into January, into all your new habits and goals and all of that, it's just sort of difficult, and in most cases it's not that practical. So I think of January as this like test run of the new year, just taking my time to test out the habits that I want to, just think about what I want to do for the year, but not make any concrete plans yet, because a lot of changes are still bound to happen. And that's been the case for me personally. Like, I have had a lot of changes happen in my life in January and February, which alters the course of the year that's ahead. So there's no point in sitting down on day one and actually making all these resolutions in the first place. So I think of January as a test run, and I think that's a healthier attitude to have, at least in my experience, because then it lets you get a feel of the year, get a lay of the land, and see what you are up for, and just see the kind of vibes that could come for the year that lies ahead. Next thing I think is to take January just to ponder and just let yourself be. Like, let yourself feel these new habits. Like, how does a new routine look like to you? Do you even want to have a new routine? What kind of changes do you want to make? So just take January as a month to ponder, and just maybe test out stuff like, is this workout better for me? Do I like working out in the mornings better than the evenings? Do I want to stick to this new nutritional plan or whatever it is that you want to change, or even if you want to change. So I think these decisions, instead of making the final decision about something, January can be a month to take that into consideration and just let that brew in your mind for a little bit. Once you come to February and you've let it simmer for about 30 days, then I think it's a good time to make an actual decision about it. So it's like taking a car for a test drive. You at least have to find out, how you feel when you're in it and how it feels on the road before you make a decision to buy it. You cannot simply just look at it and decide. I think January is the test drive month for the rest of the year. And so after you've done pondering, I think in February it's time to revisit your thoughts, and that's what I mean when I say that February is my January. So I tend to do most of my actual planning, goal setting, and setting up my systems for the new year in February. That's because after I've let these thoughts brew for a while, I'll sit down on a weekend, which happens to be today. So that's my plan after shooting this video, is to go to my journals, go to my Notion, and just get a feel of what I want to do for the rest of the year. And now that I have made these changes in my life that I wanted to make, and some of them have been so unpredictable that had I made my plans in January, all of them would have gone to waste because my life changed so much during the whole month. So, and it's not like after I make these plans in February, they are going to be so concrete that my life won't change. Of course, I will be accounting for the uncertainty that comes with life and the things that could go wrong or so right that I hadn't even imagined them to be. But I think now that I've sort of settled into the year, I know sort of the vibe and sort of how I'm feeling about it, and these changes have happened. I think it's a nice time to finally settle down and convert the chaos of January into the calm of February. So I think the chaos to calm mindset is also more applicable in the month of February, because from December to January is like from one kind of chaos to the other. You're barely functioning enough to sit down and have like a peaceful sort of state of mind to sort of think about this and get your plans into actual actionable systems or goals. So I think February is a great month for that chaos to calm transition and actually think about the long term, or think about more of your intentions and the kind of vibe you want to set for the rest of the year. And lastly, since it's a month that's associated a lot with love, I think this is a great month to do your goal setting, because you can take it as a month of self-love and compassion, and to accept the person that you are, right now, and the person that you want to become, and what's the gap between these two, and how can you be easy on yourself while you try to bridge that gap. And I think because the theme of this month is so associated around love and compassion, I think it's a great way to look at yourself with that lens, and while you're setting all of these goals and systems, and this additional layer of like self acceptance and self compassion just gives you that additional boost to sit down and be a little more patient with yourself, or be more gentle with yourself. I think what happens in January is that we're too critical, or because the year has just gone by, we are thinking of all the ways in which we can make things right or make things better, and we tend to be a little harsh on ourselves in January in general. That's what I feel. So I think in February it's a time to just calm ourselves down, compose ourselves, take stock of who we actually are, and just accept ourselves for the way we are right now, and allow us some grace for, and be patient with the person that we want to become, and just give us that space to to climb that ladder, to bridge that gap, and just let ourselves be. So I think these are the themes that stand out to me the most in February, and it has always been my January, or like I always say that February is my January, because that has been like a consistent theme in my life for the past few years. And I almost have evidence to prove that. So like a lot of changes have actually happened in January and February, which have set the course for my year. So I like to take January, like I said, as a test run and then settle down in February and get started on the new year. So I hope that you found some insights from this video, and if you even remotely relate to it, then you might be able to apply these tips and tricks to your own life and see where it takes you. So let me know in the comments down below if February is your January too, and what kind of changes are you planning to make in your own life. So if you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel, because that always helps me out. And I also just launched the Save Ourselves podcast. So if you want to hear me ramble more on this topic than I just did right now, you can head over to the link in the description below, because I am going to be making a podcast on this very episode, which will be on the similar lines of February is my January. So head over to that link and check out that podcast. It would be great to have you support me on there as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.